Imagine building the single greatest coding tool the world has ever seen. Then, 3 days later, watching your own government switch it off. Not by hackers, not by any competitor, but by your government. That's exactly what happened to Anthropic. In this episode, we're unpacking one of the strangest tech stories in years. A story with a jailbreak, a mysterious phone call from Amazon, a Friday night ultimatum from the White House, and a CEO who allegedly couldn't pick up his phone fast enough. By the end, you'll understand exactly how a single weekend nearly froze the global AI economy. In April 2026, Anthropic quietly unveiled Mythos 5, its most capable model ever built. It never went public. It couldn't. Mythos was locked inside a program called Glasswing, reserved only for trusted partners like major corporations and, ironically, the US government itself. The reason was simple. Mythos was so good at cybersecurity work that it doubled as a potential cyber weapon. To let the public in on the fun without the danger, Anthropic built Fable 5. Same brain as Mythos, but with safety classifiers bolted on top, essentially a child lock. Ask it to do something malicious, and it politely reroutes you to a duller, safer model instead. Fable launched to the public, and it was, by every account, remarkable.
Today we're launching Claude Fable 5, the most capable model we've ever released to the public. Fable 5 is a Mythos-class model, with safeguards that make it ready for general use.
Hundreds of millions of users overnight. Developers were building things nobody thought possible just months earlier. For about 3 days, life was good. Then, someone broke the lock. On June 10th, a pseudonymous internet figure calling himself Plenty the Liberator posted a jailbreak of Fable 5 on X. He's something of an institution in this world. The guy who treats every locked-down AI model like a puzzle box daring to be opened. His method wasn't some Hollywood hacking sequence. It worked more like laundering a request. Break a dangerous ask into smaller, innocent-looking fragments. Wrap it in strange Unicode. Bury it inside a long roleplay conversation until the model loses track of what it's actually being asked to do. Anthropic had already spent thousands of hours red-teaming Fable internally, alongside the US and UK governments. And by their own account, the jailbreak he found wasn't a universal one. It couldn't unlock everything. It only surfaced a handful of already known, minor vulnerabilities. The kind other models like GPT 5.5 could apparently find too. But here's where the story gets genuinely strange. According to multiple reports, it wasn't Plenty's public post that triggered the crisis. It was Amazon. Amazon researchers reportedly discovered their own version of a jailbreak, one that could coax Fable into reading a codebase and flagging real software vulnerabilities. Amazon's CEO, Andy Jassy, allegedly raised the issue directly with the Trump administration on a Thursday, which is a strange twist in itself. Amazon is one of Anthropic's biggest investors, and its cloud is one of Anthropic's biggest revenue streams. Torching a company you're financially married to isn't exactly a smart competitive play. So why raise the alarm at all? That question still doesn't have a clean answer. But by Friday morning, the wheels were already turning inside the White House. By Friday, officials including Treasury Secretary Bessent and Commerce Secretary Lutnick were reportedly on calls trying to figure out exactly what Amazon had found. Around noon, they tried reaching Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, directly. He didn't pick up right away. Some reports claimed he was unreachable at a wellness retreat. Others pushed back hard on that framing, calling it character assassination dressed up as a leak. Either way, it took roughly an hour and 15 minutes for Amodei to call back. When he did, the conversation reportedly did not go well. Bessent allegedly told him directly that he was making a bad decision. Amodei tried to explain that this was a narrow, non-universal jailbreak, not a doomsday exploit. The government wasn't interested in the nuance. They wanted the model down. Amodei refused. So at 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time that Friday, Anthropic received a letter. Not a customer complaint. An export control directive, signed off under Commerce Secretary Lutnick, ordering that no foreign national anywhere, inside the US or outside it, including Anthropic's own foreign-born staff, could access Fable 5 or Mythos 5. The government told a private company that some of its own employees could no longer use the product they had personally built. Anthropic had no way to verify citizenship at the account level. There was no clean way to comply narrowly, so they hit the only button available to them. The fallout was immediate, and it wasn't just angry developers losing access to their favorite coding assistant. The European Commission, which had only just secured access to Mythos after weeks of negotiation, called the episode proof of Europe's need for technological sovereignty. Gina Neff, a professor of responsible AI at Queen Mary University London, warned that restricting the model could actually limit safe testing and slow down the very research meant to make these systems secure. She put it plainly, we're in uncharted territory. Then there's the irony nobody could ignore. Anthropic has spent the better part of 2 years warning, loudly and publicly, that frontier AI needs government oversight. They lobbied for exactly this kind of regulatory authority. And now that authority had been turned back on them, in a process Anthropic itself called opaque, rushed, and lacking the transparency they'd asked government to build in the first place. This wasn't Anthropic's first brush with Washington either. The company is separately suing the Pentagon after being labeled a supply chain risk, the first time the designation has ever been applied to a US company, rather than one from an adversarial nation. A judge has since ruled that directive unenforceable while the lawsuit continues, meaning military-linked agencies can keep using Anthropic's tools for now. Critics on the other side floated a very different theory. That this entire saga was a calculated moment for Anthropic, hype that reinforces its safety-first brand right before an IPO, while quietly building a regulatory moat few competitors could clear. Both things, oddly, could be true at once. So, who's actually right here? Was Fable genuinely dangerous? Or did a jumpy government overreact to a vulnerability that other models can already find? Honestly, I don't think anyone outside a handful of rooms in Washington and San Francisco knows for certain. What I do think is clear is this: nobody involved had enough time to think straight. Amazon flagged something on Thursday. By Friday evening, a sitting government had issued an unprecedented export control order on a commercial AI product used by hundreds of millions of people. That's not a policy process. That's a fire drill. Dario Amodei himself once compared dealing with government to talking to Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. Painfully slow, careful, deliberate. But this wasn't slow at all. It was the opposite. And when decisions this consequential get made in hours instead of weeks, mistakes are basically guaranteed on both sides. In my personal opinion, this is less a story about one dangerous model, and more a preview of how badly our institutions are built for the speed AI now moves at. Congress takes years to pass legislation. Frontier models ship new capabilities every few months. That mismatch isn't going away. If anything, it's going to get worse before anyone builds the guardrails to handle it properly. So, what do you think? Was this the government doing its job, or a panicked overreaction dressed up as national security? Let me know in the comments below.